Okay, let's look at communications in RenWeb. How to send emails to an individual or to a class or a number of classes in RenWeb. By the way, it is an awkward system, but it works. Alright, let's get started. First, take note, we are by default in the 2020-2021 school year already. I want to change that because it's hard for me to show you examples of sending emails to students when I don't have any students. So I'm going to switch this back to the, oops, one moment, go away. I'm going to switch this back to last year. So I'll click on the date here in the top right corner. I go to 2019-20, and now all of my classes will come up as they were last year, including all the past grades, everything, as if this were still last year. Alright, so I'm going to go to Classroom. You'll see that my color coding from last year comes up, after I select my classes, as opposed to the entire school. And I like to hit Attendance Enabled while my finger is right there, and get rid of lunch. And I have all my classes here, including my study halls, all color-coded as well. And let's just go to Algebra 2, Section 1. It'll come up by default as the seating version of the attendance seating chart. There's no seating chart because we don't have school on Wednesday, June 24th. So let me change that just for an example of what the seating chart looks like. I'm going to set it back to, all the way back to 98. Now in 2075. This is awkward. Speaking of awkward, 2045. Interesting. 2014. Come on. 2018. I want 2000 September. No, I want October of 2019. Stop there. That works. Okay. And let's hit October 7th. And here's my class. I can change, by the way, the size of my screen so I can get it all on one screen if I want to. There's a way to, if I hit full screen here, then things fit a little bit better on my screen. I can't think right offhand. There's a way to get rid of this entire thing here. Whoa, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Do I need to start this whole video over again? No, let's not do that. Let's instead go back here, and we're going to kill that. Okay, so anyway, here's your seating chart for those students who actually do have their pictures in the system. They show up here, which is very nice. I wish they all showed up. On this particular date, back in October, I took attendance, entered all the P's here. Looks like maybe everybody was present that day. How about that? Nope, no absences on that day. Very nice to be able to go back and look at this. If I want the listed method, I can just hit this and hit the day method, and I see just the day. Scroll through that and see it all. That's the version that most folks are accustomed to seeing. But I find that many folks didn't even realize that you can indeed create a seating chart. Okay. What else? Okay, we're doing communication. So now, I'm in Algebra 2. I'm going to hit the communication button, rather obviously, I hope. Click. And there it is. Now, we have these three categories: compose, filter, and recipients. Compose is obviously where I would compose the message. Don't forget to hit carbon copy self. I wish that came up by default, because sometimes I forget to do that. But if you want a copy sent to yourself, the only way to do it that I know of is to hit carbon copy self. You can send just a message you create yourself, or you can send reports, like a progress report. That can be done. Very simple. Just hit that, and now you're going to be sending a progress report. I'm going to send a message. Subject. If you don't put in a subject line, I believe it warns you that you don't have a subject line. But I'll put in a subject of greetings, because I don't know what else to say right now. Greetings. I should be very careful that I don't actually send this message. That'd be kind of embarrassing. Okay, I can then come down. I've never used the templates. I don't know what they even look like. You can play with that if you want to, obviously. But here we type our message, and I'll put in, how about, nice to see you. Okay, and that's my entire message. Now, to decide who this goes to, I hit filter, not recipients. One would think you would click recipients to get a list of your recipients. No, it doesn't work that way. We hit filter. Under filter, my class was supposed to have shown up here. Why didn't they show up here? Normally they do. I don't know why. Oh, no, I do not know why they did not show up. That's interesting. Did I do something wrong? I'm still in the correct year of 1920. My students did not show up. That's a first. Okay, and I don't know how to get them to show up. Oh, great. This makes a lousy example. Shall I, before I just ditch this entire video, shall I just go back and try once again? Let's go to the gradebook view. Okay, I've got students, and hit communications, and there it is, and hit filter, and there are no students. Oh, it's, okay, again, another RenWeb glitch, I'm going to call it. I did indeed change this to the 2019-2020 school year, but the communications module doesn't know that. 2021. Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, so there we go. And now my students should show up, and now my students are still not showing up. Why not? Oh, it doesn't, it's really acting up. Something seems to be wrong with this. Looks like I'm going to have to select my class here, which I normally should not have to do. Hit classes, which class do I want? I'm going to get my Algebra 2 class here. It's not normally this difficult. Normally my class would have come up automatically. I do not know why it didn't. Okay, I'm trying to talk and search at the same time. It doesn't work well for me. Okay, Algebra 2, 1. All right, now all the students show up. You would think, okay, good, I've got my list. No, you don't, not yet. You have to send them over here first. Suppose I want this to go to everybody. I can just click this. Suppose I don't want it to go to everybody. I'll click just Stephen. If I accidentally send Stephen a message, he won't be upset. I can send to Stephen and how about to Emma. Now I will send those two guys over with this single right arrow, and there they are. Or if I wanted to, I could just send everybody with the double arrow, and bang, there's everybody. Hey, let's send them back. Let's take Stephen and Emma again and send them over. Until just recently, I thought that I now had to select these guys again for it to take, but no, I don't have to. If I now say, okay, I've got them in here where I want them, these are the ones it's going to, then I hit recipients, and it shows me the names of who I'm sending this to, and all the email addresses. Where are the email addresses? There aren't any, because there's a critical step that I did not do yet. You have to decide what kind of data entry, what kind of information, I can't think of the right words, but don't use anything under admissions. This will not serve you at all. Go to families. You probably want this to go to correspondence, which would go to parents. But you may also, or instead, you may want it to go to students. Do not select parents or students up here in admissions. That's a separate category. That will not work. It won't go anywhere. You want to choose correspondence in families, and you want to select or you want to select students here. If you also want it to go to a staff member, like you want a particular teacher to see what you're writing to these two students, you would also have to select staff. If you don't, it won't go to that teacher. Let's see what happens if I forget to hit staff, but I want it to go to a staff member. So I want to copy this to go to some staff member. So up here I'm going to choose not classes, but I'm going to choose, scroll down, I'm going to choose staff. And substatus, substatus, that wasn't supposed to happen that way. Clear. Substatus. Okay, substatus should give me a list of, oh no, I'm sorry. As soon as I hit staff, all the teachers showed up over here. Yeah, half the time I don't know what I'm doing, I just have to do it by looking around. Let's send a copy of this to John Leach. And now again I have to send John over here. I've selected him, the blue, you can see it under my tools here. And now I send him over, and there he is. Alright, I've chosen the folks I want this to go to. Now I always, just to make sure I haven't messed something up, I always click on recipients. Now we see the 3 people it's going to, Stephen, Emma, and John Leach, and the email addresses it'll be going to. But wait a minute, John Leach, correspondence, NA, student, NA. Oh no, it's not going to John. Why not? Because back here in the filter, I forgot to select staff. Haha! Okay, now that's different. Now when I hit recipients, now I see under staff, John Leach, correspondence, the parents, student, the student's email addresses. Now we're good. I look at this quickly, make sure I have everybody accounted for. I'm happy with that. I can now hit send message here, or I can go back and look things over one more time, make sure I clicked, carbon self, it's not clicked, I don't know why. Put in a subject, put in your message, whatever. When you're all happy with it, then you hit send. So that's correspondence in RenWeb. If you don't carbon copy yourself, it's a little bit tricky to see if a message actually went out. When you do hit send message, unfortunately back here, I would be happier if you hit send message and everything goes blank, but it doesn't. The message is still here. I believe under the filter all of this is still here as it was before. Everything seems unchanged, so you say, how do I know for sure that it actually went? Well, the clue is, as soon as you hit send, 2 things disappear, and only 2 things. Go figure. Carbon self will disappear, and your subject line will disappear. But your message is still there. I guess that could come handy if you want to send the same message to somebody else. But your only indication that it actually successfully got sent is that this gets cleared and your subject line disappears. Another way to find out if it went anyplace, we can go back home, back to the screen. From home, I can select students. From students, and I'm not sure if all teachers have the ability to see the entire student body, but you'll at least see your own students. I'm going to pick somebody, anybody. How about Chavez? Okay, over here I can hit email history, and it shows me all the emails that have been sent to Mia. I see that, wow, all these things were sent by me. It'll give you the complete history. I believe it also includes things sent by other teachers or administrators. More. I'm just curious to see if there's anything else from another teacher. Maybe it is just from me. But there you see, can I actually see the details of that message if I click on it? Ooh, I can, yes. So here's the body of the message that I sent to Mia back on whatever date, back on May 29th. So you can indeed get the email history by going to your main screen and then choosing email history right there, and choose your students you want to look at, and you can see, hey, did that message ever actually go to them? And we see what happened. All right, that's communication in RenWeb. I can't think of anything else important to mention about it. There are, by the way, other things you can find. You can, if we used behavior, and I think maybe the administration uses it to some degree, I can hit behavior here and see a list of sanctions and demerits, which we don't use, and I kind of wish we did, but we don't. Any behavior events that have been reported for that person. I can see their particular student's attendance records. I can see it for the particular date today, or I can see a view for the entire term. and this is, I have to be in the correct term, so I would have to go back 2000, there it is. And I can see the attendance for the entire, that would be second quarter of 2019, and here's the attendance record for that student for every class for the entire, I can do this, there we go, for the entire quarter. Okay, nice. What else can we do? Academics, I'm not quite sure what that'll show you. Play with it. Family, find out who the parents are, phone numbers, addresses, whatever you need. Report card, that's very important. We use report card when we enter. Alright. So, anyway, there we go. That is everything about communications, plus a little bit of bonus information in RenWeb. So, hopefully that helps. Please, feel free to see me anytime about any questions you have regarding RenWeb. I can either know the answer or I can find it out for you. Also, another expert on RenWeb, of course, is Kathy Simpson, as well as many other teachers who are experienced with RenWeb. I've been using RenWeb for, goodness, I don't know, 10, 15 years, long time. So I know most of what's going on. So please see me with any questions you might have. And that's it.